Well, hello, Alice. Welcome to the tea party, my dear. I noticed that you were very interested in coming down to Wonderland. Thank you for joining me this evening.
Well, darling, I really appreciate it.
We're going to have a little toast.
Let's have a little toast.
All right.
To our Valentine's week
Yes.
of filming.
To the magic of love.
And welcome, everyone.
And to you guys.
Join us with a cup of tea. Go get yourself a tea if you'd like and sit with us. And we have a fun electric fireside chat today.
Mm-hmm. An LED fireside chat.
An LED electric fireside chat.
Well, this has been the most incredible year so far because of many things, but
Yes.
Pluto, for all of you those who are into astrology, for those of you who are into astrology, Pluto has shifted from its incredible, that locked in position for, 250 years?
Yeah.
Give or take a few years.
Right.
Moving into now so many people's signs affecting them much more strongly than other signs.
Yes.
I'm not an astrologer per se, but I am a cosmic traveler.
Yeah.
And I'm very much about that. So I wanted to say that I feel like there's cosmic energy happening right now of unparalleled proportions. Mm-hmm. You as an empath, what have you been feeling the last few weeks?
It's interesting. I feel like everybody's really going through it, but then they keep coming out of it. And then they come out of it like out of a washing machine. And they're just kind of like, oh my God, what is happening? And they feel like there's a lot of energy moving in their life. People are coming and going. Friendships are ending and starting. Relationships are ending and starting. People are attracting new people that they would never have attracted before. They're breaking patterns.
But it's happening faster. Like these are parts of life that, yes, throughout
like manifestation
daily life, this
possible.
does happen. Exactly.
Manifestation is possible to happen faster.
Because some people say to us over the years, those who are the muggles say to us, well, what about, doesn't that stuff always happen? What's the difference? Here's the difference. Yes, seeds always grow in soil, but
Right.
there are seasons that are excellent for planting, and there's a season for the harvest. We are made of cosmic energy. Even scientists have been saying, right, that we are also part cosmic space dust that has traveled through, we're part ether, not just earth and matter.
And I think we're being affected by everything, including
Of
the
course.
cosmos, the weather system, the earth, and it's moaning and groaning and earthquakes and all of the, the global warming.
Because we're
everything.
part
So
of
we're
it.
all, yeah.
Right. So we're part of that cosmic reality. We are part of this cosmic reality because we are made of it. Now, what we're seeing and what we're trying to share with people is that think of the seasons of the cosmos. Think that we're traveling through seasons cosmically, not just the weather systems on Earth. So when we're in the season of different astrological signs. So right now we are in a season where the changes are happening sort of quickly without too much drama. It's like suddenly people have been waking up. A lot of my clients and students have been just waking up and going, oh, Riz, I did the thing. I go, wait, the thing we've been working on for the last few months?
Yeah.
You weren't due for another 3. And they're like, oh, I did it yesterday.
Right.
It just hit me. And they did it without any resistance.
There's been a lot of realizations like that happening lately, where people are realizing that they're coming to the end of one rope and they're starting a new journey, not another rope, but I should say they're starting to kind of arrive on dry land.
Right. Well, these are mystical experiences. And let me take a sip.
And by the way,
Is that Rose? That's Rose, isn't it?
I am Lady O, and I'm an empath and an intuitive, and my lovely husband.
I like being called lovely. I like that, the lovely. That's good. We should have more men being called lovely.
The lovely, gentle, generous giant.
I'm Riz the Wiz, and also known as Riz MIRZA. I'm a psychic medium, trance channel, and shaman, and I have been in the medical, physical, medical? Did I say medical, physical?
It does feel medical.
Oh, wow. That's a new term.
was a Freudian slip.
Medical, medical, metaphysical.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Doctors are medical, physical.
What's in this tea, by the way?
It's special. It's very special. Okay, it's really my honor and a privilege to do the show with you because, especially, we share our stories with people.
Yes.
More and more. I mean, we've been doing this for so long. 15 years together, 20 years individually doing this kind of work, transformative work. But we rarely get a chance to share the very psychic, mystical experiences in our personal lives because
do you realize that's what brings us together and draws us together the most? Is that beside all the things that we love doing, but our mystical interests, experiences that we both have before we met each other,
right?
And continuing.
It's the cosmic, because everything for us is about, everything has a meaning. Everything is how we're creating it. We just approach life that way. So my really thrill tonight is about talking about some of the countless mystical experiences we have. So this is going to be top mystical experiences, our top mystical experiences that we're going to share with you for the first time.
Yes.
Things that have happened to us personally.
And of course, because I have to be ultra organized, I had to write it all out. Oh, by the way,
you wrote it out?
I wanted to talk to you about this.
What is that?
I found this in the back of a drawer. I forgot about it. So this is an essential, I think this is an essential oil. And I wanted to tell people, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got there was two of them. I don't think this is the one.
Oh, I can't even place that.
You can't place that.
It's a mix.
So, I just wanted to tell you guys, especially for those empaths, sometimes when you can't get control of your brain and you can't calm your emotions down and you're just freaking out all the time, sometimes an essential oil, orange,
is essential.
Sandalwood. Which other ones would you recommend? Rose
and jasmine are my favorites.
Please list below in the comments which ones you like. But
yes,
essential oils are a lifesaver because when you just can't break free in that moment, like I have a little pouch of lavender.
Yes.
And I breathe the whole lavender in like 3 times deep breaths, and that just does something to my mind.
It does, and it's doing to your nervous system.
Diffuser.
Absolutely. Yeah. I also like there's a very lesser known oil that's called hinoki oil.
Yes.
Hinoki, guys. Hinoki oil. Please look it up. It's made from it's a Japanese name, Japanese tree, and very therapeutic for the nerves. See,
it smells a little bit like sandalwood, patchouli, and something else.
That's a good way to describe it.
Right.
With like a few notes of lemon even in there.
Yeah, it's very spa.
So you rub it together in your hands, maybe with a little bit of other oil, and you just breathe it in like that. That's a great way to, if you don't have a diffuser, right? Just a few drops in your palm. Maybe take a little coconut oil, something else, rub it together, it heats it up, and then just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth.
The ingredients list on the website of the essential oil manufacturer that you are getting the most pure sourced.
That there's nothing else in it.
And also, I wanted to mention sandalwood helps a lot of people with headaches and migraines. Sometimes if you put sandalwood here, there's something in the temples that it soothes the headache. I don't know the scientific reason of why that happens. I think it's something calming in the nervous system. I'm not sure. But so definitely do essential oils. But yes, I'm very excited to do this. So you
wrote your top mystical experiences down.
I wrote them down.
Okay.
These are my top 13, but of course we're not going to get to them all. But what I'm going to do is I want to read them so you guys know
You've
what
said 13. Of course you picked the number 13.
Of course I did. So
this is the Metamystic show. It's a psychic show. It has to be 13.
It has to be 13. So I'm going to read them and I'm not going to get to them all, and we're going to pick 3. You can help me pick, or I'll pick.
So you want to read the list, then I'm going to say, tell me about those 3.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Because in the future, I would like to cover the rest of them, so we can have maybe a couple parts.
All right.
This. Okay. So do you want me to go first and read my list?
For sure. I'm going to gather my thoughts.
Here comes out the glasses.
Okay.
And here we go. Okay, number 1. The floating faces and symbols I used to see when I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Above my bed. Number 2, the teepee experience with you while you were channeling in a group journey in the desert.
I know about that one. Okay.
Number 3, my alien experience, which I've already done videos and wrote a book on, and it's quite lengthy, and it's really hard to go through the whole thing. I could briefly touch on it.
Okay.
Number 4, when numerous synchronicities line up. I mean, in the future, I'd like to go into more detail about that. I can't really go into.
Bet you somebody's watching this at 11:11 somewhere,
Exactly.
and they're going, "Oh my God, they said synchronicities at 11:11."
Yeah.
If that was you, drop it in the comments right now.
Okay, number 5, when my dad crossed over and I felt it, and I was like
and you
hundreds
weren't
of miles
there.
away.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 6, the hauntings I experienced at the house in Malibu. That was supernatural.
100-year-old house that we stayed in.
Super haunted, and those experiences were extremely mystical.
Yep.
Number 7, when I was driving through Fresno and I had a time missing experience. That
missing
was
time.
Missing time. So alien missing time experience.
Right, that was intense.
That was intense. Number 8, talking to you on chat when we first met.
Oh,
that very special mystical experience I never thought would ever, and that could be appropriate for Valentine's Day.
Well, we'll save it for Valentine's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 9, anytime I trance channel. So believe it or not, you guys, I've trance channeled numerous times, and I've done it in group journeys with lots and lots of people and giving lots and lots of messages. And I've done it for many years, and I kind of have stopped, but the only time it comes up is just casually or randomly. I don't plan it, but I'm talking about when I used to plan it. Okay, number 10, when I was on psilocybin and I looked up in the night sky and I saw all the UFOs. Well, all of a sudden they were
That's
uncloaked.
actually one of mine because I was with you and I saw them too.
Okay. Number 11, when I was 5 years old and spirit descended into me, I was like activated, and there was a whole experience that happened that was very mystical. Number 12, when I saw Riz as a 12-year-old child.
Meaning she had a vision when she was 12 and had a vision about me.
Which you were living deep in New York and I was living deep in
Was
LA.
I playing Atari at the time?
You must have been. But I saw you as your full-grown self in your...
Oh, you saw me
because I met you when you were 40.
Oh, so you saw me in the future. I never actually asked you that.
I saw you, what you were wearing.
That's right.
From head to toe, and I saw you. See, I'm giving it away already. I don't know if we're going to go into that. Okay, number 13, the exact moment or when I had my awakening, there was a whole thing. And there was another one that came to me recently and I just forgot it, but that was a lot already. So,
okay, so here's the ones I'll pick. Why don't you start off with something from the house that we lived in that was a 100-year-old house,
right,
on top of a hill, a creaky wooden house, guys, that we had 1,000 channeling circles in, probably 1,000 psychic readings, so many things, shamanic ceremonies, energy healings, UFO sightings. So surprise me, because I know there's dozens of stories, but I want to hear which one is in your top. I'm going to just chill and lay back. Yeah, you're going to have to chill
because I need a few minutes.
You need a few minutes?
I need a few minutes. I'm going to give you a few minutes.
Oh, to talk. Okay.
Yeah. No, I need
I was over here thinking she's just going to be silent for a few minutes. I was going to be like, hi, guys. Anyway, what are you guys up to? We're just going to wait.
Do I ever wait to talk? Never. Okay. So I want to talk about the one that, well, I'm going to go in order from, we've already talked about some of them in the previous shows. So I don't want to go over those.
Just jump in.
But I want to talk about the one that stood out for me. Because the one that actually feels the most like I laid in bed and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like it's actually a full haunting. So our bedroom, this old house, right? Our bedroom wall where our head was on the headboard was at the same wall that was on the other side running along the staircase. So the staircase was behind the wall where we're sleeping. That makes sense? Okay. So you go up the stairs, creaky, old wooden stairs, go all the way up, and there's the bedrooms up there. None
of the kids could ever sneak out like normal teenagers because our house was so old that you breathe and the stairs would creak.
Right, you could hear it.
Yeah.
Now you have the normal wear and tear of an old house that's creaking just from moving and the wind and stuff, right? It's very distinct.
Yes.
So I would be laying in bed. This has happened so many times. It got to the point where I just had to accept it. I just had to have conversations with the spirits that lived in our house. So I would be laying in bed and I would hear thump, 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 thump. And I was like, okay, the kids are going to bed, which is great, right? And then a couple hours later or an hour later, I'm woken up or I'm falling asleep and I hear more up and down, thump, 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 like up and down. Now, my kids are old enough, like they're not running around, right? So,
they had school the next day.
They were teenagers.
They were in high school at the time.
Right. So I would text them and I'd say, okay, you guys, you have to stay in bed. Like, I would text both of them, whoever was there at the time.
Because you thought, they were going to the kitchen?
I thought they were just going up and down the stairs and I can't sleep if they're going to do that.
Right.
And they're like, Mom, we haven't left our bedroom in over 2 hours. Like we're in bed.
Yeah.
And this happened so many times.
I mean, you have to really imagine that you're in bed.
It's very distinct,
it's
right?
super quiet, and it wasn't a creaking. We actually heard stepping.
Steps.
Yeah.
Actual steps.
Shoes. And what's interesting is that in our house, no one wears shoes. We leave our shoes at the door. So this was leather heel,
Yeah.
and sole.
Soul. And then the other thing that because the stairway was a hot spot for sure. The other thing was our cats. Every cat we ever had would sit on the coffee table or in the living room
And stare at that.
and stare at the balcony at the stairway where it goes up, and they would just stare and stare and look and watch. And I'm like, oh my God, is there like some sort of like freeway system here? Like
you could hold the cat with the staircase behind you, and the cat would be like looking over your shoulder like this.
Corners. Remember that one corner at the top of the stairs? They would look there, and they would also look where the bookcase was.
Yeah, like further to the left.
Further to the left, they would stare. So that was another one.
Why don't you talk about, can I just even say?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to jump in on.
No, wait. Are you supposed to jump in on my story?
No, meaning you had a story where you were in the house and they said your name.
Yeah. That was
Why don't you
really
tell
scary.
them that one?
See, that's the kind of hauntings that I'm like, okay, you have to draw the line somewhere. I think they were testing me. So literally I had just moved in. I think we were only there less than a week.
Yeah.
And that's where we heard a lot of noise. But I remember I was standing in the kitchen and I heard behind my ear or behind my head, I heard, Oriah.
Yo.
And I was like, there was no one in the house. I was by myself. I mean, it really freaked me out.
I'd be like, don't be saying my name unless you want you got a problem. Because you about to have a problem.
It was definitely outside of my mind. I wasn't thinking my name.
Yeah.
I heard it.
So I remember where you were, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were?
At the kitchen sink?
Oh, you said that. Sorry.
Yeah. I was at the kitchen sink. So that was the other haunted story.
Can I tell you another one?
The last one, and then you tell me.
No, I want to pick from your. Do I get to pick all of them from your list?
Well, when you tell your stories, am I going to jump in and say my stories?
No, because I don't have 13.
While you're taking. Well, I'm not going to do all 13. We're only doing 3.
No, I'm saying so. I'm going to pick 3 of yours to hear because you said pick 3 that you want to hear about.
Yeah, but you can't add your stories to my story.
I haven't added any stories.
But you're going to. And you can't do that.
How'd you know I'm going to?
You just said, can I add something?
Not my story. I want to add a point about your story.
Okay, you can add a point.
So you're in the kitchen. You hear the voice. You're not saying what you did.
Oh, what I did to the spirit?
What did you do after you heard a spirit say your name?
I turned around.
And? You actually turned around?
Yeah.
And what did you expect to see?
I don't know. I thought I was going to see a spirit.
Oh, you really did?
Yeah.
And you weren't scared?
I was terrified and also pissed off. I was like, oh, hell no. No way. This spirit is going down.
Okay, so you turned around. You didn't see the spirit.
I looked around and I went, oh, no. And then I had all this, like, the hair stood up in my... And then I felt the feeling on my back.
Oh, wait, what?
That was when I felt the O. So it was like a finger. You know about this. We talked about this in
No, I didn't know this was the same time.
It was the same time.
I forgot.
It happened right one after the other. It was right after my name was said.
So
and
a
then
finger.
It felt like a finger went like this slow. It went like this.
Drew your letter O on your back.
And I'm like, oh, really? So you're really announcing that, A, you know me, you know I'm here, and you're going to make it known.
You're like, oh, really? And
Look,
the spirit was like, oh, yes.
I felt like it was a friendly spirit, but it was one that was a little bit like push it too far and it might get a little...
You know, I said good evening, Alice, to you with the T in Wonderland, but you are Alice tonight with this outfit and the hair and everything. I mean, I realize that you have different. You have a certain Alice in you.
You know, I like to think of myself as Queen of Hearts.
Yes. Isn't one of your don't you? But isn't your do you guys know the Destiny cards? There was a gentleman who channeled this method of. It's not divination. It was a method of kind of like astrology, telling you your personality type and what your personality is like using the deck of playing cards. But it wasn't astrology because let's say someone is the 3 of spades. You would have like 4 birthdays that are assigned to that don't have to be all the same sign. Mm-hmm. So that was what was interesting about it. And yours was, I think, the Queen of Hearts, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How interesting.
Didn't I try to be the Queen of Hearts for Halloween one time? But it was too hard.
Yeah, it was a little...
I couldn't get into it.
I know.
Okay, so yeah, those are kind of like, I think we agreed to 3 minutes per story, right? So I think I covered...
No, you're good. You're good.
I could have kept on going. There was more, but that's all I want. I would like to hear what
we're just chilling. You guys are just chilling. Let's just chill and listen. Let's share.
I'm very rule oriented.
You are?
Yeah, I like to go in order of the rules.
I thought those rules were just for us in the family, me and the kids. I thought your rules were for that. I didn't know you had your own.
Well, for tonight, I did.
Oh, good.
I thought we were in agreement.
That's good. Okay. All right, let's go to the one. You had one.
To our show.
Okay, there was one on the list that was about spirit guide connection. Was that spirit guide?
On my list?
Well, let's talk about when you
turn.
started experience. Oh, we're gonna go back and forth. Okay, so I would say my first real.
She wants to get on your lap.
Who's here? Oh, Mumi's here. Okay. Oh, she walked away.
Come here.
You want to come? Well, you know what?
She's gonna make a fuss if you pick her up, Riz. Don't do it.
Here, you put her on your lap. There you go. You guys know if you watch our show that this is when she comes over is because she wants to be seen by you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about my mystical experiences. Yes. I got one for you. So the first time, I just told actually the first, if you want to know my first mediumship experience, go to my
Mystical. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well, mediumship experience, you guys can watch on. There's right here on YouTube. There's a little short video about it. So watch that one. I would say my first. Well, I had one that was very powerful when my mom passed away. Mm-hmm. So my mom passed away after she had battled with an illness for about 2 years, and you guys, many of you have been through that. You know how it just shreds you. But I like to say that I always found as a medium that when a person crosses over, they usually have. The people who are on this side usually have one of two experiences. One is their faith in a higher power is strengthened and confirmed, or they go the other way, which is there is no higher power, there is no other side, and this is the worst thing in life is that we have death.
Right.
Okay. So mine was really that there was something more. Mm-hmm. And this was before, by the way, guys, before I was a practicing medium, before I really knew this was my life's calling. So my mom passes away. And the very first night, first of all, my mom passed away in the dead of winter in New York City. Okay. Early February, New York City. You guys, you know how cold that gets. It is bitter cold. It's way colder at the end of January and early February than it is in December in New York. Mm-hmm. You just wish you had never been born when that wind slaps you across the face. It's like a hand made of ice, okay? It just grabs you.
Wow.
Anyway, so she had passed in the middle of the night, like somewhere between midnight and 3 a.m. Okay, so the next day, the next morning, the temperature that day had been like 25. The next day, it was 62.
Wow.
And you can look this up. I actually Googled it to see the date.
Right.
It was in 1991. And I Googled it was I imagining it back then when I was a teenager and that happened? I mean, I remember. And the next day, no one wore their winter coats. We weren't even wearing jackets. It broke all the records in New York City history. There had never been such a warm day in like 100 years.
So she knows how much you hate the snow?
So my mom, thank you. Yes. So
sorry.
I grew up shoveling snow in front of my house in New York City when I grew up. That's what you had to do, you know? So I felt like her soul, and she was a very powerful being. I know that when she crossed over, it was like the biggest sign, changed the weather pattern. No one understood it. The news was like, what is going on today? It's 62 degrees.
That's crazy.
It's supposed to be 20.
That is crazy.
Okay, guys, imagine that.
Doesn't happen.
Right? If you're probably in winter, if you're here in America, it's like, think about if that happened.
That doesn't happen.
All right. So then that next night, I'm sleeping or I don't know what's going on.
Right.
I just remember sleeping and I felt a hand on my hands.
I don't even know this story.
Yeah, I think you don't know this story.
Wow.
So it was the most warm hands. And I remember I woke up to feeling my hands being held. I didn't open my eyes because
You didn't want it to go away.
I didn't want it to go away. I was in utter amazement, some shock, a little bit of fear, because you feel a hand. You're sleeping alone in your bed, and there's no mistaking this. And so, imagine I'm like this, my eyes are closed, and I felt, my hands were up back by my head like this, and I felt it. And then I kind of like took a breath. I woke up and took a breath. I still felt the hands holding my hands. And I knew that this had to have been my mom. But the hands felt like, okay. So I heard a voice. The voice just said, "It's okay. It's okay."
Like she made it okay.
Okay, now listen to this,
good.
guys. The voice, for the life of me, you could not tell if this voice was a male or a female. It was neither. It was this elevated, celestial kind of tone. Nothing like you hear in a science fiction movie, nothing. It was very gentle, but there was no distinction to trying to place what this voice was. Was it a man? Was it a woman? And I just breathed, and it faded away. Second night. It's funny, that in Christmas Carol, you'll be visited by 3 spirits tonight.
Right.
Okay. This happened over the course of 3 nights. So let's go to night 2. Night 2, I wake up. I feel something in the room. Now, I'm asleep. How do I feel something in the room when I'm asleep? Well, I did. There's no other way to tell you. I just did. And I could feel it, and I was afraid to open my eyes. I wake up without opening my eyes, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to open my eyes. I feel something in the room. Nothing scary, though, guys. There was nothing dark. I open my eyes slightly. At the foot of my bed, I see my mom. She's not looking at me, but her hands were sort of like this, sort of like a prayer, and she was translucent, and she was wearing Indian clothes. My family's Indian, and kind of flowing white scarf around her head. And she was like moving her hand in this gesture, which I didn't know was kind of like a blessing. And I saw it, and I quickly closed my eyes. And I remember thinking, I wasn't supposed to see that.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm a teenager. I just go, I'm not supposed to see that. That was supposed to be happening without me waking up. Because she wasn't looking at me. It was as if she was blessing me while I was asleep. So I just went back to bed. That was my
You've
first.
never told me this story.
I thought I would tell you that one. I know I didn't tell you the one with the hands.
Did not know this story.
Okay, so exactly like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, your turn. Talk about
Okay.
your dad, maybe.
Actually, yeah. I mean, okay, so let me see. Instead of that story, because I don't want it to be too sad.
Well, did that make you sad?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, your story was beautiful, but it is sad, and I don't want to talk about my dad right off of that.
You guys who have lost loved ones, it's interesting. I was doing a reading for a family just about a week ago who lost someone very recently, and the whole family was in the house, and I was walking through the house and giving messages from the other side to people, and they were having their reactions that people have when they have mediumship readings, when you give them specific information that you couldn't know, right? Well, in the middle of it, I stopped and I looked at all of them, and I said, you know what's interesting about having a medium come to your house? It is the most painful fun you'll ever have.
It's true.
It's the most emotionally painful fun. Why? Because you're getting these messages.
That's a really good way of saying it.
And at the same time, you're so intrigued and you're starting to have this fun.
Wait,
and you're
I think you just described my life.
So you start to have this feeling like you never have experienced this before, because you want more.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's kind of reaffirming like that loved one is gone. But at the same time, when you get the message, you're like, oh, but that's really cool. They talked about me.
It's kind of like our Psychic Sundays.
It does happen. But when by the way, guys, on our live Psychic Sundays, you don't have to ask about someone who crossed over, and not a lot of people ask about stuff about their pet, or they ask about their job, or they ask about their spiritual growth. So just remember
Their
that.
spirit guides,
Yeah. So we'll be on Sundays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay.
I have my next question.
Please,
next story.
go ahead. Go for it.
Okay, so this one has, I wish there was a better word, plagued me. I don't know. I have had to come up with my own conclusions to figure out what it is. It is pretty straightforward, but it still was probably one of the most supernatural experiences I've ever had. So I think it has a lot to do with the time of my life and my environment. So I was in my early 20s, and I just had, I think when this started, I had just had my second child, and it lasted off and on until my third child was born for a time, and then that's it.
Oh, I don't even know what she's going to talk about right now.
This is the floating faces. Oh. Okay, so I would lay in bed. I lived in the inner city. I was on my own. The father of the children lived with me. He slept in another room. It didn't end well. So I was, very empathic, very sensitive. I had just finished coming through. I was getting disenchanted with Christianity. I remember I was on my way out, phasing being religious, leaving that, which was very, disheartening and disenchanting, basically. Okay. So I was going through that. I was also going through being a young mom, raising kids, doing this all without, I don't have any siblings. I'm an only child. So there was just not, my mom would support me here and there. She would come, but I don't know if it was just because I was determined, but this has a lot to do with why I think they sent these symbols and these faces. So I would lay in bed at night, and it always happened in the evening. I remember it like it happens, like it can happen right now. It is so visceral inside of me. It never has left me. So I want you to imagine a baby mobile in a crib, right? So a baby mobile is hanging down, the baby's laying down, and it comes right in the almost an arm's reach, but not quite. And it starts to move, but it moves in a very soft fashion, right? And usually how this would occur is I would open my eyes. I would either be sleeping and my eyes would just automatically open for no reason, or I'd be kind of in a twilight stage, or I would just be laying there going to sleep, but I was still awake. Eyes were closed. And then I would open my eyes. And I would see this, sometimes it would start from far off in the room, small, and then it would get bigger, and it would stop like right before I could like reach it. And then sometimes it would start the opposite, where it would start here, and then I'd go to reach to touch it, and it would dissipate. It would go very slow.
You would reach your hand up?
Yeah, after a few years, I got brave.
What did you see?
So let me tell you what I saw. So the first face I saw, I want you to imagine, and this is what it looked like. I can describe it exactly. So it was framed, outlined in like a light golden amber color, not super shiny, kind of muted, very thin lines, and very constructed to where I'm looking at like a 3D full face, right?
How big?
So, well, they would vary.
Okay.
And then after the faces, I started seeing sacred geometry, but I didn't know what that was at the time. And it took me a long time to figure out what those shapes were. So the first face, I'll never forget. The first face I saw, how can you forget that? The first face I saw was a very big face, and it reminded me of some of those depictions that you see of like Moses in the Christian cartoon Bibles. So
like long white hair,
but then also could look a little bit like a pirate at the same time, because there was a lot of wrinkles on the face, very like older, like very wise face. And it was also very on the humorous side, almost like it is, it was kind of like an art. It was like a design. It was beautiful. Like,
what do you mean by humorous?
There wasn't like a scary feeling. It had like a sense of humor about.
Yes.
This was coming like almost
I love
like
that.
Like if you were leaning over a crib and to talk to a baby and you were cooing and you were like, oh,
that's what they were doing with you.
And you know how many years it took me to unravel this and figure this out? So I would stare at it in amazement. My eyes were wide open. I'm not asleep.
Right.
And I would be staring, and it would be like, I'll tell you, like from here. So if I'm laying down, so it would be right here, and it would hover. It would last for about 30 to 40 seconds, and it would move, and sometimes it would like rotate, or it would
You
move.
mean each face would last 30 to 40 seconds?
Yes.
This is a very extended,
significant. This is the most significant
metaphysical,
supernatural. Well, I shouldn't
supernatural.
say that. I've had a lot, but
Yeah.
yes. So at first I got scared.
Yeah.
And then they would send symbols. So then I would see interesting shapes. So I would see sometimes, triangles with circles, and then sometimes it would be oblongs and like all these different shapes. And I wrote a book called The Little Book of Sanity. And in the book, I channeled a lot of those
Can people get that on
symbols.
Amazon?
Yeah, you can get that on Amazon. I wrote it a long time ago. There's lots of typos in it, I think.
See, as the husband,
that's
I
really
offer
fun.
that because then I like to say, can you get that on Amazon? Very conversationally. See, I could slip that in there so people
like
can.
it.
But it's a great book. And I love that
I
you called
wrote
it The Little Book of Sanity.
Yeah,
it is really has clarified people's busy minds.
Yeah,
I
people
love
have read it over and over and over. I tried to make it as short as possible. It's very funny, and it just talks about how to unravel your insanity. It's called The Little Book of Sanity.
That's all.
And the best, I know, the whole thing that I'm saying is a dichotomy in and of itself. But I will say that if you, where was I going with this? Oh, I wanted to get the book out so bad, and at the time I didn't have an editor, and I just did my best. And I think there's some typos,
But
which
that's
makes it
cool.
really
You know
fun.
what? I think that where we're going, can I just make
Yeah.
a comment about society right now?
Right.
What I love is that, see, when I was growing up, if you said the slightest thing that was grammatically incorrect,
Oh, yeah, it was
people
a
would
big deal.
correct you, especially if you said my friend and me, and you said, no, my friend and I.
Right.
Okay. Now, language to me, it's very much about, yes, there's a way of speaking it. Like we speak American, we don't speak English, I like to say. Because language grows with the consciousness of the people as they are feeling it out. It's a way of expressing yourself. That's what language is. It is how you express yourself, the words that you're using, and then everybody agrees this is the way. But we add new words to the dictionary. By the way, Riz is the new word in the dictionary, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. People have asked, by the way, have been asking me, when I go for, like at Starbucks, when they ask me name for the order, and I go Riz, and if it's a Gen Z or a millennial, they'll like smile or laugh, and I'm like, that's my real name. And actually, at Starbucks, I pulled my driver's license out to show the dude. I was like, no, this is my real name. And he was like, oh,
For those
whoa.
that don't know, Riz is the new term to mean hot and cool.
Yeah, I think it's short for charisma. Like if you got Riz, it means that people stare at you. You walk in with a lot of Riz, it's like everybody looks at you.
So your soul didn't it's no accident that you chose that name.
Hell yeah.
I want to finish my story.
Nobody's stopping you.
Okay, so then I decided one day to be brave. It was a big moment, and I decided to see if I could touch these things.
What if you had been sucked into a portal?
I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I was ready to leave my body. I was like, well, I guess this is it.
Maybe you were sucked into a portal, and this is the result of being sucked into that portal right now.
I need to write. Oh my God.
Did you hear what I said?
Wait.
Maybe
Astral projection. I've done that.
Maybe she touched the symbol, got sucked into a portal, and we are now, me and you guys, are the result of that portal. She came into our portal by touching that. Now the cat is out of the bag.
The real Alice in Wonderland. Okay, wait. Yes. That's true. It could happen. I was really afraid. I didn't know what can happen, honestly, because at this point, I thought I was going crazy. I was like, oh, this is just high stress. This is like extreme trauma, extreme stress, PTSD, beyond. But it was so peaceful and calming and relaxing that I couldn't have been. It wasn't a part of the PTSD.
Right.
It was actually calming the PTSD. So the day came, I decided to reach out, and I was like, well, this is my big moment. This is my big moment. So I reached out, and I remember the first time I went really slow, and I noticed that as soon as my finger got to like right here to this point, it would go, just like move.
That is,
and so
that's
time
like a
Miyazaki
movie.
Then I started to expect them. So I started to expect them. Sometimes it was every night.
How long did this go on?
Oh, this went on for years.
So, I thought this was just one time.
This was years. And I would just expect I called them my friends.
See, if you want to learn more about your partner, just do a podcast and you'd be like, wait, I thought that was once.
Yeah, y'all, you should try it.
Yeah. Sometimes you tell a story. Sometimes you tell a story, and I'm like, "Wait, I thought that was me who experienced that. That was you." Like when you've been together a long time, you live with the story so much that you start to think it was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
amazing.
I'm almost done. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Was there a feeling that you felt was communication?
Let me see. I felt, okay, because I wasn't into aliens back then, I did feel an alien presence, but I didn't know it was alien. I wouldn't have called it alien. I just felt it was not of this world. I definitely knew that. And I knew I wasn't creating it because I didn't know where it came from, why it was there.
But they were human.
They were coming in human form, but then I did start to see faces as time went on would change. And I don't know. I think it started to go into different characters. At the time...
You mean like mythical looking characters?
A lot of mythical. You know, I think what happened is towards the end, before they left, I started to get so comfortable and so relaxed and looked forward to seeing them that I just started to become one with the experience. Like, you know, this is just what happens to me. I don't know.
Do you want to know what I think that is, though? I think that innately all of us, we are really attuned to or inclined to, because of our DNA, with the so-called the supernatural. Because people come to our channeling circles, right? They'll sit down at the Circle of Light where I trance channel. I'm not just relaying messages from people's guides, guys. I am actually leaving my body. They come in, they change my voice, change the entire manner of how I speak. That's what trance channeling is. And when I start to tell people before the circle starts that this is what is going to happen, there's definitely people who've never been to a channeling circle, and they're just coming to the circle because someone said, that guy's a medium. He'll give you a message about your mom or your dad or your career. So they show up. Excuse me. And I see the looks on their faces when I'm telling them. And I say, listen, nothing's going to float off the table just yet. My head's not going to spin and do a 360. This is a very loving, peaceful, beautiful experience. But you'll see that, and even though my voice will be different, I may speak in a different accent, whatever happens, I said, you'll notice that within a few minutes, you're going to feel like this is normal.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is we were all in tribes back before all organized religion and everything took over. So it is in us to be connected because we are cosmic beings. We are spirits. We do not have a spirit. We are the spirit. So we are simply expressing ourselves through this physical body, right? So as that is unfolding in you're born, you grow up, and then you eventually die, and then you turn into some energy, you're the energy the entire time. It's just this is how it's showing up. So this is what we call the natural world expanded, is what people call the supernatural. So we guys, our favorite phrase is the supernatural is the natural. And the
natural is the
and the paranormal. Take two.
Oh God,
we're supposed to rock this phrase. We're supposed to rock this phrase.
I'm just not feeling it right now because I'm tired.
The paranormal is the normal.
The paranormal is the normal.
Yeah, she really sold that really well, didn't she? That's great.
I can't do it right now. I like this, like, do it.
You know, people. I like this fake crystal here.
I'm going to tell everybody why it was a long day for me today.
You know what? Even though this is not a real big giant ruby, because you imagine if it was though. Okay, how much would that cost? But this, I just think it's so pretty. It reminds me of red Jello.
I like it. I love that color.
Can you see this? Look how red Jello this is.
Beautiful color. That's one of my favorite colors. And then cobalt blue, actually. And then this color is my second favorite.
Leave that there.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
I love this.
It matches the walls.
So supernatural is the natural and paranormal is the normal.
Yes. Remember that, guys. T-shirts, should we do it in the merch? Yes, let's do it in the merch.
Yeah.
We're going to launch our merch store pretty soon, right?
Yes.
Why? What's the drag on that?
Because...
Is there a delay?
Yeah, there's like a little
Erica's
delay.
not here. I can't yell at her.
Yeah.
I don't yell at
just
people.
Just leave it. We'll get to it.
All right. So is it my turn?
Yes, it is your turn. And
first of all, how are you feeling about I'm rocking one of my pendants today?
Oh.
Can you guys see this
one?
Move
your microphone,
I like to share with you guys stuff because you guys are really into stones and crystals just like me.
I think you have to move your microphone.
Damn. How am I going to move this thing? Look at this. No matter where I move it. All right. Now y'all can see. Here we go.
There you go.
Okay. So see, when the light hits it, it looks like it's a mirror, but it's not.
What kind of stone again was that? Amethyst? No, that's a labradorite.
Well, first of all, here, this is a purple labradorite, guys.
Right.
If you guys can see, this is a purple labradorite.
Yeah.
Labradorites are usually blue, like you have here on my ring. Mm-hmm. Can you guys see that? My pinky ring there? That's what a labradorite looks like. This is, oh my God, I can't believe, I was about to talk about this, and now I can't remember. No, this is not a labradorite. So this is a purple, you know what? No, you're right. This is a purple labradorite.
It's a purple labrador.
Okay.
Because you know why? Because it has the marbling of gray and
yes, you're right.
And that's how I always know.
So what we got going on over here is we have smoky quartz and we have black obsidian.
I love that.
Did you notice that these
No,
two
I
things?
didn't know. Yeah.
This is made by one of my favorite artists on Instagram, and I will put her link there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she makes one of a kind pieces, and she made this, and I love it. This is also kind of the triple goddess. If you see on my tat here, can you see that?
Just for you guys to know, if anybody's curious, you
can see it. So my tat is a triple goddess.
Over time, I've worked with Hecate.
Yes, this
for
is
a long time,
or Hecate, whatever way you want to pronounce it. So this also represents the triple goddess, which you guys can look up that symbol. It's beautiful. It's about the divine feminine, and we all have to have the divine feminine. No matter how we identify, the divine feminine is the energy that we must be with.
Well, and the divine feminine is in all things.
Of course.
So yes, you can go next.
All right, let's go. Mystical experiences. Yeah. Okay, so this one is really short.
Okay.
I saw Abraham Lincoln at the top of my stairs.
Okay. Well, that's kind of important.
Like, you get it, guys? So I'm actually going to make a little AI art thing of, 12-year-old Riz. Yeah. So my parents, immigrants, bought this house in the Bronx. Yes, there are houses in the Bronx. We have been living in Harlem. We live in this little apartment.
I'm not familiar. So versus...
It's all projects, really, right? Projects and apartments, lower income housing. But there was this house that was left over that somehow didn't get torn down.
Wow.
And my sweet parents saved all their money and bought this little house in the 70s. Got us in. It was like huge inside.
I love that you called your parents sweet.
My parents were the sweetest.
I don't think I've ever called my parents sweet.
My parents were badasses, but they were very sweet. Meaning they were badasses for leaving India and being able to forge their way through. In the 70s in New York, in Harlem, my mom wearing a sari every single day, pushing me in the stroller.
That's incredible. Shoot. I love your mom's stories.
Yeah.
Every story you've ever told me about your mom has been so fascinating to me. His mom was a Cancer.
Cancer Leo.
And his father?
Aquarius.
And my mother was a?
Aquarius.
And my father?
Libra.
Hello.
Well, do all the math of how that goes. Anyway.
I'm a Taurus and he's a Leo.
Having a Cancer mom. Okay. So, I'm going up the stairs in this house that I was just, that's where my mediumship really, I think, started to happen because there were spirits in that house. It had been around for a long time. Back when, this is a part of the Bronx when it was just, back in the day, it was all Irish. But when we moved in, it was just, that had all ended. It was all black, Puerto Rican, and the one Indian family, right? That would make a good TV show, right? So I'm walking up the stairs.
How old were you again?
I gotta have been 11, maybe. Okay. No, I think it was younger.
Yeah, I think
right because we had just moved to Noah, so I was way younger.
7.
8 or 9.
8 or 9.
Okay. And I'm walking up the steps, and the light was out. So imagine stairs going up to 3 little bedrooms. Okay. And then there's like a landing area where there's 3 doors. You go in the bedroom. So you go up the stairs, landing area, 3 doors. So there's a light in the landing area that's usually supposed to be on. And I'm going up the stairs, and the light is off. And you're a little kid. And you're like, ugh. The stairs are creaking. I'm just like, I was obsessed with watching UFO shows and Bigfoot and paranormal ghost story. I was just drawn to that. And now I'm all messed up. And I stood on the stairs, and I saw the light was out. And so I just was walking up, and then I remember closing my eyes, and I looked up, and there was a face floating in the dark.
Oh my God. Well, that's similar.
Well, it was like up to here. So I could see kind of the shoulders, and I saw Abraham Lincoln.
Well, so he's definitely one of your guides.
He is one of my guides.
To come in that clear and strong.
That clear. All surrounded by the dark. So I'm going to make an AI photo and show you guys.
Did you channel Abraham Lincoln one time?
One time.
Because I remember I cried.
One time. And he talked about the emancipation from your negative thoughts and patterns. Isn't that great?
Wait, didn't he also come 2 years ago?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Oh, it was another president.
George Washington's wife, I channeled.
Oh, that's who
Martha
it was.
Washington.
Oh, yeah.
That's in my book, The Nine Keys. If you guys want to read that, you can get that on Amazon or Kindle.
I cried when both of those two spirits channeled through you because they were so immense.
One might say, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I just caught myself because some of you guys are watching. It's like you might think the first time he talked to a spirit guide and channeled and left his body is going to be in his list of mystical experiences, and it's not.
Isn't that funny?
I don't know. Okay.
That's not on the list of mystical experiences.
You want to know why? Because that overtook my life.
It became normal.
That's like my life story kind of thing. I feel like my experiences that are like you're having or you guys are having where I'm just the observer and I'm not a part of it in the same way, like to do my work. That is what I'm sharing now. So I saw him.
How did you feel when you saw him?
I froze.
So you really saw him.
Now, I have rarely talked about this experience. So I'm going to say I'm dropping in right now. Right now, I'm dropping in. How did I actually feel? Because I still went up. Yeah, you know what it was? It was like I accepted that I was a little different. And I told my parents the next day.
Oh, you did?
It was like I was talking nonsense. It was like I was talking nonsense. I was a little afraid to go up there, but I went and I immediately went through the little landing area really quick and opened the door to my room and the light was on. I used to leave the light on. And I went in my room, closed the door. And I knew, though, that I was never going to see that again. Isn't that interesting? You instinctively knew. That's why I was saying...
Do you feel like there was a message he was giving you at the time?
I think, well, looking back now, of course, because he is one of my guides.
Right.
I believe that he was going to show himself in a way that I would never forget, and that he would show himself at a certain age. So listen to this guy. So one might say, why did he need to show himself to you when you were a little kid? Why didn't he just come to you when you became a medium in a trance channel?
Right.
Here's why. Because if I just become a medium in a trance channel, see what happens a lot when you first becoming a medium or realizing you're a medium is that you start to second guess yourself. As a psychic, you will second guess yourself. You'll say, come on, am I imagining this? And then you have to give a lot of readings and people are giving you confirmations like, yeah, I can't believe you're saying that, or yes, that's true. So I think what it was that he was saying, I'm going to have you have a strong, impactful experience with me when you're in your innocence and you're young. Then 20 years later, you're going to get a message that I'm one of your guides, which is true. Alex Murray gave me a message about Abraham Lincoln. And if you guys want to know who Alex Murray is, he is now on the other side, but he was the channeler that I first went to who gave me the message that I would be channeling. And there's a 5-part interview with him on this YouTube channel, which you should watch because he was the last of an ancient breed, guys. He was part of the psychic movement, the spiritual new age movement on a real level back in the 60s and 70s and 80s when this work you didn't have yoga studios everywhere. You didn't have people who were on TikTok saying, I'll give you a reading. You had to search for those mediums back then. And Alex is the real deal. So watch that interview. You'll learn a lot about the history of how a medium develops and hears.
Yeah.
So that was it. That's Abraham Lincoln. I made it into a more detailed story, but it lasted about maybe 15 seconds.
No, but it set you up. It set you on your course.
Yeah, later on I was like, he liked me because I'm tall too. I don't know how tall he was. I'm 6'3". Was he taller than 6'3"?
I think he was 6'3". And for that time period, or he might have even been taller.
Do you know what sign Abe Lincoln was?
What?
Do you know?
I don't know.
Aquarius.
He was oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
See, as a Leo, because he's on the opposite end of the astrological wheel, we all have an opposite or a polar sign to us. The polar to Leo is Aquarius.
I would consider him an evolved Aquarian.
So it means that these two signs have something to learn from each other.
Right.
They will also be drawn to each other. At times they will be, repulsed from each other. But there's always a strong connection somehow between them.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I guess we're going on to mine, and I wrote down 2 more.
Yeah, let's
because
go.
they came to mind. So 14 is our Pung experience in India.
Our Pong experience.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
And number 15 is astral projection.
Oh, you had, okay, so I was like, did you mention that before? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, talk about the astral projection. Because it'll be a little sneak, wait, or do you want to save it when we do the episode about astral projection? Somebody right now is going, talk about it now, talk about it now.
Yeah, I would rather do it when we have our show because we can really expand upon it.
We will do remote viewing and astral projection show.
That's a future show.
Promise.
You weren't supposed to know that.
Okay.
It's okay. Okay, it's fine.
Talk about Holi in India. Or should we save that for the India episode? We're going to save everything now.
Okay, let me see.
Oh, I know. Talk about when
I saw you when I was 12.
Yes.
That's a good one. I love that one too. Oh my God, you guys. We have to do so many parts to this show. We need to do like part
But you know, this is what it's like when you hang out at our house, right? We're at our house right now. This is our living room. And this is what we do at night. And that's the whole reason we did this podcast, guys, is that people like to have these as conversations instead of just we're always doing readings or we're always doing official stuff with large groups of people. We wanted to have intimate time with people. And this was the best way because at our house, we would just sit on these chairs, have tea.
I think it's the best way for people to get to know us. It's the best way for people to understand what our world is like.
Yeah.
You know? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
I think I just said it in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my story.
Okay.
So imagine this. Always it's the setup because the environment and the situation around it, I think, makes a difference.
Okay.
So only child. My dad was always working. My mom didn't drive. She was home a lot. My mom's from Honduras and English is her second language. And
a lot of people don't know that you're half Spanish because
I'm half Spanish.
You have so much, the Danish in you looks so strong.
I know. I speak some Spanish.
But my girl here is
I grew up in
half Latina.
Hispanic neighborhoods.
Yep,
Hispanic,
you understand Spanish perfectly.
Yeah.
You grew up eating Spanish food. It's funny when
I have dark hair. There's pictures you guys can see online or there's other podcasts. You can see this.
I love the few times that we back in the it's happened a few times over the years where we will be in a restaurant or a store and the people who are working behind the counter are Spanish, right? And they will say something about you. They've never said anything
about me or the situation
or your order
or something
or your order
in
Spanish.
A question,
right? Nothing derogatory,
but I understand them.
And then when she understands them, they just think, "Oh, that she's a white girl who learns Spanish."
They're always shocked.
Now, but when you have dark hair, you do look classically Spanish.
I do look.
It's interesting.
It's
just
like
the dark hair changes everything.
Like literally.
But we went to Denmark.
And my mom was 4'11". My dad was 6 foot. And
she's almost 6 feet tall. She's 5.
I know you guys can't tell.
Yeah, I'm 6'3", and she's like almost 6 feet.
Actual Amazonian.
Yeah, you're a Viking.
Viking.
So we go to Denmark.
Yes.
And everyone starts speaking Danish to her.
Yes, which was awesome.
Which I knew was kind of going to happen, but because she had never been back to her roots, she was like really you had a lot of trepidation about it. Like, they're not going to think that.
Yeah, I was really nervous about it.
And it was so sweet. I loved seeing these older Danish ladies talking like this. No, that's the wrong accent. That's Swedish. It was kind of like that. I can't do the Danish accent.
How they would do it. They would say, do you want a cup? No, do you want a cup of coffee?
Yeah, something like that.
No, that's more Swedish.
Well, it's Swedish. Danish is kind of similar, but it's
a Nordic show that we like watching.
It's like the Nordic. It's the Nordic Viking accent for sure.
Yeah,
but that was so sweet, right? For you to experience that.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. And I asked this one woman. She looked at me because they all had this look like I was one of them, which was amazing. And then there was this look like she went to speak to me, and then she saw that I didn't understand. American. And I said, "Can I ask you, do I look Danish to you?" And she goes, 100%.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. That's the accent right there. Oh,
sorry to disappoint you that I'm American. But you know what? Can I tell you? All right, we're drifting, but guys, so what? We drifted the conversations. Okay, just roll with this. All right. So I remember.
I think they're used to it.
I was in India one time, and I'm standing in line. Yes, I was at McDonald's because I wanted to try out this is when McDonald's first opened in India. Yo, it's really good.
Yeah, because they have paneer sandwiches there.
Yo, McDonald's in India is fire.
Paneer?
Okay.
McDonald's in India?
It is fire. It's better than here. Because they like still care because it's new.
But they add their spices and they add like,
they got a little masala on some of the stuff.
Their spices, your spices.
It's called the Maharaja Mac.
Maharaja Mac.
It was called the Maharaja Mac. I'm
they have
down.
Sriracha.
They have Sriracha burgers now.
Sriracha burgers.
Okay, so anyway, I'm standing online at McDonald's, and there's these two American girls who are at the front of the line, and they were super frustrated with their order. It's all Indians, like homegrown Indians online, and they're super frustrated with their order. Indians are so polite and nice, but they was just, I don't know, it just wasn't working. They weren't getting what they wanted. It wasn't fast enough. Whatever. And they were upset and they turned around. They were kind of storming out. So I just looked at them like, I'm American. Let me just like, I know how it goes, So I kind of looked at them and I was like going to be like, hey, that's how it goes over here. And they just looked right through me and still had a stank face on and walked out. And I was like, I had this realization. They didn't see me as American because I'm not white. I thought that was so funny and shocking. I had this weird realization. I was like, wait, they don't see me as American.
Right.
I was there like help them. Yeah. And it was really funny. Yeah. On one hand, I was like, I'm Indian, right?
Yeah,
like this is cool.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was like, yo, you didn't see me as American. Like, what's up with that, right? And then it's like this identity. We are these souls that choose to come in these bodies.
We're both first generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
First generation people should all have a club and get together.
Yeah, we grew up different.
With our parents that were immigrants.
It's different.
But, my dad was from here, so thank God there was a little bit of normalcy. But it's completely challenging and completely different when you're raised by immigrant parents because you got to go through the growing pains with them. And
because
you don't have
like
anyone
this,
to lean on.
You're like this Danish-looking little girl in school, and on Parents' Day, this 4'11" Honduran woman comes in with a thick Spanish accent saying she's your mom.
Yes.
And they're like not believing her.
Nobody ever believed me.
Yeah. My parents were my mom was 5'3". My dad was 5'6" or 5'7". I turned out like 6'3".
Yeah, which is crazy. So
it skips you. My grandfather was tall. Yeah. We're from the mountainous regions in India on one side.
Your grandfather looks African to me. He had
my grandfather had a fro
and everything.
Yeah, there's African.
His lips and face structure.
Yeah,
there must have been some
black in us. Yeah, for sure, because he's got a fro.
Yeah,
where's that coming from?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, we digress. Okay, so
back to why you're tuned in. No, this is what we do. This is all part of what we do. So you have one more thing you want to share?
So I was an only child, and
you were an only child.
Yeah, because I stopped identifying as that because I actually don't care.
Now you're an only adult.
Now I'm an only. Actually, no, I don't feel like an only child anymore. I actually feel I'm a part of the cosmos now.
But I gotta say,
all my alien brothers and sisters keep me company.
Yeah. You one day you'll tell the Ancestry.com story where you find out you're not really an only child.
Oh, yeah. I have two sisters.
Yeah, Ancestry.com can do some damage.
Yeah, so I am the youngest.
Yeah.
Of three. So there's three girls and I'm the youngest and there's
But you didn't know about
sisters.
The other two.
They want nothing to do with crazy old me. So that's fine. We'll just leave it at that. And then you're the youngest of three brothers, which is interesting.
Yeah,
so we're both
babies of three.
So energetically, I'm still a baby of the family.
It's funny because it makes a lot of sense that's why we're together because there's that energy,
that
right?
Similarity.
Yeah.
They say that like older children sometimes get together, like your same status in your siblinghood, like you find a match sometimes.
It's very fascinating how
it's fascinating because you have that same interpretation probably of life. But anyway, let me go back. So I was an only child, am an only child, was an only child, was raised that way. So I had a lot of free time. And that being said, I was very imaginative and curious and talked to animals and nature. And I was, I'm an empath. So the world is my oyster and that kind of thing. So I was one of those really creative, eccentric children. I don't think much has changed. But anyway, I decided in the 6th grade that I was old enough that I should probably start thinking about boys.
What?
Well, wait a minute. in a serious way.
You did
no, because I had crushes
is this
on
gonna
boys
be a mystical?
all
Wait,
through-
is this going to be a mystical experience?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I had crushes on the little boys in school, in elementary school, but I'm now 12, and I'm now in the,
and you're ready to be on the
graduating-
scene now.
I'm ready to be on the scene. I'm graduating the 6th grade, going into the 7th grade. I'm finding out who
Your
Wham.
poor father had to hear this.
I'm finding out who Wham is. I'm finding out who George Michael is. I'm finding out.
Oh, that'll do it.
I mean,
When George Michael came out, it messed everybody up.
It messed everybody up.
We all wanted to be him,
and
every girl
liked
wanted
him.
to date him,
Yeah.
and boys wanted to date him too.
Yeah,
right?
and he just like rocked the planet. But
Right.
So I started to like think like I should probably think along the lines of like who I'm going to marry one day.
Okay, that's normal for a young girl.
Yeah, and I used to read tons of books like Judy Blume, and you guys, I don't know if you're in my generation, but I used to read tons and tons of books and love stories and romance stories.
Were you like
of my age?
Did you just go buck wild at the Scholastic Book Fair?
Oh, hell yeah.
You remember when
I was on a budget.
Remember those
but
forms to fill out?
Let me tell you, that was the Holy Grail. Those reading, what were they called? Scholastic?
There was a Scholastic Book
I still
Fair.
remember with the thin paper.
If you had like $3, if you had $3 at the fair,
you had $3, you were
you were rich,
man.
right? You were rich.
You were rich. That paper, do you remember the crinkly feeling?
Yes.
And it was different from any of the other paper?
Yes, it was.
And that little gloss?
Yes.
And you took that pen and you're like, well, you better get this right.
That was it
you got
back then.
one shot to get the right books.
Yep.
And there would be some arguments with my mom to get another quarter out of her.
There was a lot of stuff about back in the day about if you could, they really encouraged kids to read. Like Pizza Hut, if you read like 100 books,
it was a big
they would like
reading
give you a
thing.
free dinner at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, there was like a huge push for everybody to read.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. We
That was
need people
really
to
good.
read more.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
kids are reading
we're
on
going
their
down the hill
phones.
with listen, I'm
I mean, it's just the way they write. But kids are reading all day long because they're reading text and writing. But
yes,
I'm
they
not
are
saying that
reading.
they're
I'm talking about
correct
literature,
grammar. Yeah,
not like
literature.
our nonsensical stuff that we all
Yeah.
blab on social
Speaking
media.
of, I started writing my Merlin's book. Woohoo!
This book is going to
My
be
God,
next
y'all.
level.
I'm trying to make it 200 pages. I'm like over 100 right now. I don't know how many chapters I have.
We should show
It's
some.
called
we should-
Finding Merlin. It's
You know-
my first spiritual fantasy novel based on my experience finding Merlin, but based in the woods.
So what
Merlin's
you know why
forest.
I'm on my phone right now? And it's not because I'm ordering Uber Eats. I promise I'm not ordering
Okay,
Uber Eats
what
for
is
when
it?
the podcast
And I'm going to
filming
finish
is
my
done.
story. I swear.
You know, I
to
always
God.
remind myself I should order Uber Eats before we start filming, and then
Yeah,
it'll
but
be
nobody
here.
wants to see you eat on camera, so we're just not gonna
No,
do that.
but it's kind of
You
cool when
guys,
the
do you
door
want to know
knocks.
what's going on
Here.
down here?
So
'Cause
what I'm
those of
trying to
who
show
are
you-
curious, these are long, warm, hot red stocking socks.
I love them.
You guys, I just had to.
Okay, guys, look at this picture. This is from the book. I'm giving you a sneak preview. This is
You're not
artwork
supposed to
from
show
her book. What's the name of your book?
Finding Merlin.
Finding Merlin. Just
guys don't
check this
understand.
beautiful artwork out.
This might be the beginning
So
of
this
a
is
lot
like you.
of books for me.
This is like you walking with Merlin in the forest.
Yeah, it's many years in the making.
Yeah.
Many years, because I have a very personal relationship with Merlin.
Okay.
And I go into the whole thing. But I do it through the first person. So as the reader is reading it, you feel like it's happening to you. And there's spiritual messages and there's a lot of things you go through and trials and tribulations. It's really exciting.
So you're in 6th grade deciding that it's time for you to get
Deciding
married.
It's time that I need to figure out who my future husband
see.
is. And I did know enough. I don't know how I knew that if I meditated or closed my eyes and dreamed or thought really hard and like forced my brain, it would find my future husband. I think I might have read that somewhere that is an option. You can do that with your brain. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to like let whatever image I see. Okay. So I closed my eyes. Now, just hear me out. Don't be offended. I was 12.
I'm not gonna be offended.
You'll
You're 12.
hear why. Okay, so you know the story. So I saw this man. So the question I asked myself, little did I know, I was talking to my higher self. I closed my eyes and I said, "Show me who my future husband will be." Now I've been married several times, but this is the husband that's going to last. This is the real husband.
Right, because you're really asking from your heart. You're 12 years
Asking
old.
from my heart. Very innocent.
Okay.
So my eyes were closed.
Right.
Show me my future husband. And I was like really almost asleep. I remember the blankets being over me and I was just cozy and I was very serious. It was the first time I felt like I was really serious.
All
Like,
right.
as a kid, that's very rare.
Wow.
So I got very serious and I was very focused and very quiet. And I saw this man walking up. I'm going to describe him to you. And if I find a photo, which I doubt I'm going to find in time to edit and put this in the video, but if I do, maybe I'll put it in the community post.
Okay.
So I saw a tall man, thin, and he had kind of longer hair, kind of wispy. It was kind of like to here. It was dark. And he had kind of like a kind of angular face. And he had these little glasses. And, you know, back then glasses weren't cool. So I was like, I didn't like that. So there was glasses. Remember, I was 12. And so there was glasses, like round glasses. And then there was this maroon colored shirt, red maroon, kind of like short sleeve, had a little collar. And he had these like khaki olive green pants. And immediately I said, well, that's not matching. So that's a no. He does not dress. I'm telling you exactly what I said. Okay, you have to know. And so then,
because this is the 80s, you cared a lot about fashion back then.
There was hot pink and fishnets. Are you
This is
kidding
Breakfast Club time.
Yeah,
guys.
like I'm not about this look. Okay, and then to top it off, there was this satchel. Men did not wear satchels.
Yeah.
In those days. So there was a satchel of like leather or something, and it went over your hip. And so, and he had like darker skin, and he was smiling, a little half smile. And I saw him just standing there, and I was very unhappy with this.
Okay.
I did not like what I saw.
Right.
I was very disturbed.
Right.
He had glasses. He did not dress, and he had a purse. And those, I'm out. Not interested. I was really upset. I was mad. Fast forward. One day, I think we were in India.
No, I know where we were. We were in Santa Monica's 3rd Street Promenade.
Oh, is that where it was?
Yeah, we were going to go walk around.
Because you wore that outfit again in India. That's how I remember.
There's pictures.
There's pictures.
But the day.
Have pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were walking, blah, 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 one day. I think this was in the first year.
No, this is in the first few months. This is like.
First few months we were together, right? So we were walking, and you were ahead of me or something, and you were walking towards me. And I was just watching him, walking towards me. And as he was walking, I went, wait. And it was like all the mosaics, like boom, 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 like everything like
those are wild moments
in my mind. And I was like, wait. I was like, I couldn't even speak. I was like, wait, this what? This is the guy.
Right.
Oh my God, look what he's wearing. The glasses, the shirt color, the pants, that satchel. But nowadays, everybody was wearing satchels at the time, like now. Like it's like a student.
Yeah.
You kind of look like a student at the time.
It's just a shoulder bag, but it's interesting calling it a satchel.
What are you supposed to call it?
I don't know. It was basically, no.
But it was like a thick strap.
And over the shoulder.
Kind of like what a student would wear.
It was like more like canvas.
Yeah.
And but it had more of a hippie vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, so I can't believe that happened. I had no explanation for it. I had no idea that was real.
I will come to your dreams and visions when I want something. Now, mind you, at the time, you were 12. That I was 16 because I'm 4 years older than you. And I was in New York City.
And you were in high school. You looked totally different.
I was a sophomore going in my junior year. Right. And
so Riz went to the high school of performing arts in New York City, but you guys, you don't know that.
You ever see the movie Fame?
Well, you were talking over me while I was talking, so I don't think they
went to the High School of Music and Art and Music and the Arts. It was called the High School of the Arts when I went there.
Yeah.
And I was an artist, visual artist, and playing drums, trying to get in a band.
Yeah.
So,
fun fact, he went to school with a lot of now celebrities.
Yes, but I'm not going to name them.
Because? What about somebody knows them?
It's kind of cheesy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, not for me, because
no,
I went to just boring public schools.
No, it's corny. But here's the thing.
Excuse me.
It's not corny for you. It's corny when it's the person saying it. Because it just sounds ridiculous. I went to school with so and so. I would do it if I do it in my personal, like the kids know.
Yeah.
But anyway, what was I going to say? Okay, so I was 16 when you had that vision. I was 16, and I looked like the Indian Judd Nelson. Wouldn't you say?
Right. And I looked like Molly Ringwald when I was in high school. I have pictures.
You want to insert that into this?
I have to find these photos and put them in the community posts.
Oh, okay.
Because the community board.
Okay.
You guys
don't want to edit it into this video?
But because I want to get this video out soon, so
Just pop it in.
But I have to look through all.
I got those pictures.
You do?
Yeah. I got them in my
They
phone.
know what Molly Ringwald and Judd Nelson.
No, but they need to see what we looked like.
Oh, you know what?
To show that we really did look like that.
On Instagram a while back, I did a side-by-side comparison.
Okay, so
of
get
the
that
photos.
one. Yeah.
I have to look for it.
All right.
No promises.
So you basically had the vision of your twin flame.
Yes.
And I always knew that I was going to be with someone from. Now, when I say always knew, might as well just been like a dream fantasy of some kid who's running around the Bronx. Okay.
Right.
But actually, it was true.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that. I got to stop saying I knew that. I didn't know, but I dreamt that that my wife would be from California.
It's crazy.
She did have blonde hair, which is interesting because you went blonde like literally a week before I met you.
Yes.
Yeah. So you had dark hair.
Long, natural, dark hair, really long.
That's amazing.
Oh, they probably don't know. Yeah, they do know because I have roots, right? You can see the roots and they come in. So I have naturally like medium, light to medium brown hair.
And I have naturally blonde hair and I grew it into a mohawk and dyed it. Okay. All right. Do I get one more mystical experience?
I think so.
I said Abraham Lincoln, my mom.
Yeah, you can get one more.
I'll get one more, guys. Let's see. Top 10 mystical experiences. Hello.
What?
So 40th birthday. 40th birthday was coming up when I was 39, of course, duh. And we were planning a trip, my friends and I, this is right before I met you, to Tunisia. Why Tunisia, you ask? Because Tunisia is awesome. If you don't know about Tunisia, look it up. It's beautiful beaches, beautiful culture, beautiful people, beautiful food. Yes, my brother is married to a Tunisian.
Okay.
My nieces and nephews are half Tunisian, half Indian. Awesome. So we finally decided to go. By the way, interesting side note, Star Wars fans, the planet Tatooine, which is in Star Wars, where R2-D2 and C-3PO land. You know that famous poster where C-3PO and R2-D2 are walking on the sands? Mm-hmm. Okay, that is in a place in Tunisia. Listen to what I'm saying. It's in a place in Tunisia called Tatooine. Tatooine. George Lucas made that Tatooine. That was shot in Tunisia in the deserts. Talk about like 1975 it was shot. Wow. Now you can go to Tunisia and it's really chill and really fun place to go. And Gladiator, the movie, was shot in Tunisia. The Romans had come into Tunisia back in the day and conquered and built a Colosseum. In fact, the Colosseum that is in Tunisia is in better shape than the Colosseum that is in Rome. Right. That is why they filmed Gladiator in Tunisia. So do that. So I figured let's go to Tunisia. Beautiful beaches, interesting culture. Had a few friends from New York, and we were planning to meet there. So one of my friends says to me, well, what do you want for your 40th birthday? I said, well, I want to go to Tunisia. He's like, okay, but what do you want? I said, like a present? They're like, yeah, whatever. Just answer the question. I said, you know what? I want to see a UFO on my birthday.
Wow.
Get ready for this story. So we are on the beach, and I'm not much of a swimmer, but whatever. I walk into the ocean. I'm up to my waist. Now the sea in Tunisia, you can float in because the water is so full of salt. You can just lean back and you'll start floating. It's amazing. And it stays about waist deep for a long ways out. I don't know what that's called. The sandbar? I don't know what it's called.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. So we're doing that. I'm floating on my back. It's the middle of the day, guys. I'm floating on my back. And suddenly, two bright white lights fly across the sky from my peripheral vision. I saw it. And right above me in the blue sky, bright white circles, two of them met and were right together above me. And I'm floating there. Totally had forgot that I'd asked this request from the universe. And my friend is next to me, and I said, I reached out, and I tapped on her shoulder, and I said, there's UFOs above us. There's UFOs above us. She looks and she goes, holy shit. There's another guy who's there he's like, yeah, right. I don't think he even bothered looking up. Why are some people like that? The two lights go boom. down to the horizon, and we see in 1 second they're at the horizon line, and we see two tiny bright lights. Mind you, it's daytime.
Wow.
So I stood up from the floating position, and I looked at my friend, and she's like, wow. I said, I know, that was amazing. The other guy was like, it's just planes, guys. And I was like,
God.
there's circles and they're
Glowing.
still and glowing.
And glowing.
So I go back to floating. Now I'm happy. And I close my eyes just to feel myself relaxing. And I hear my friend, and she goes, oh my God, they're back.
Oh, wow.
I open my eyes, and now they're in the sky above me, and they're going like this, like moving around like this.
Oh,
and then going like this, and then this, and then they zigzagged. I hear that guy running out of the water. He got terrified. He saw it. Isn't that interesting that he got so scared? I was so overjoyed that they were showing this to me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Like the gods have gifted me this vision.
Right.
So they heard my intention. What do you? I mean, think about this.
Well, that's where the UFO watchers, they get together and they do intentional.
They set the intentions,
and that's what we're going to do at our contact in Joshua Tree. We're going to be doing
amazing. We are going to Joshua Tree.
If you want to join
in
us,
May.
go to our website.
Is it in May?
I think so.
It's called Contact. It is our weekend in Joshua Tree, which already is a powerful vortex. If you don't know about it.
Yeah.
And so come with us. You get to spend those 2 nights with us.
We've had so many UFO and alien experiences that we finally said, let's just do a retreat.
Yes.
That we can put this all together.
So I will be channeling.
And help everybody to connect that goes. Yeah.
So we will be doing a conscious intention setting where we'll be calling them in, and it does work because they respond to that energy, that intention that is authentic.
Yeah.
And I will also be channeling at night on our own private channeling circles, an extraterrestrial group of beings whom I channel, who are called the Friends. Also, they're called the Echelon. By the way, if you don't know about it, also have that in a book. It's called the Echelon Speak.
Over 4 channeled sessions.
Yes.
With a group of people and over 30 topics.
They cover
every kind.
A lot of things about our place in the cosmic community. So we're going to be doing that in May. So that's what I got. That was one of my top mystical experiences.
That is incredible.
I'm so grateful, so grateful that they showed that to me.
To end it on.
Thank you.
Wow.
And thank you guys.
Image. That's beautiful. Well, you guys, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. We have more to share, so we should do part 2, part 3, 4, 5, because I have a list, and I'm sure have a list.
So let's ask you guys if you would like to share what your most mystical experiences are. Put them in the comments below.
Your favorite one.
Yeah. We'd love to read them. Maybe we'll read some of them out loud and comment on them. And stay magical and keep it surreal.
I like that. Until next time, bye.
Namaste.